All right. Unit 1, Lesson 6, solving equations using square roots and cubed roots. These I can statements, they should look familiar to you. We've already done these in the past lessons. I can recognize that squaring a number and taking the square root of a number are inverse operations. Those I can statements look familiar? Yeah? Right. Next page. Like I said, we're breaking this up into two parts. Today we're just going to do the first part of our notes in 1.6, doing the square root equations. We're not going to do the cubed roots. We're going to do those tomorrow. So when we're looking at the square roots, it says, what are the square, and notice this plural word, roots. What are the square roots of 64? Well, what is the square root of 64? Just blurt it. 8. And we talked about this on the first day. Now it's asking for square roots, so technically we could have 8 and we could have a positive 8 and a negative 8. So technically there are 2 square roots for each perfect square. And you just have to make sure you read the directions. If they ask for square roots, then you put positive and negative. That doesn't mean you have to write a positive 8 and a negative 8 every time. You would just write it as positive, negative, 8. However, right here, the principal square root is always positive. The principal, the main square root, is always positive. So if they ask you for the square root, you just give them the positive answer. Now here we have a negative on the outside. A negative, that's an assumed 1, and that means that's kind of like times that square root of 64. So what is, well, now we'll use the principal, negative times the square root of 64 equals what? Well, what's the square root of 64? 8. So now we have a negative 1 times 8. What does that equal? Negative 8. All right, so that negative out here makes this answer a negative 8. Now they ask for the positive negative form of it. What's that going to look like then on our answer?
Negative positive.
Good job. Positive, negative 8. Now here, square root of a negative 64. What do we get? Good answer. You can't. Not possible. Sad face. Can't do it. It's impossible. There's no real answer to that. So, a negative integer has 0 square roots. It is impossible. How about the square root of 0? What is that? Positive negative 0? No. It's just 0. It's neutral, all right? So 0 has 1 square root. It's just 0. There's no such thing as a negative 0, positive negative. It's just 0. All right, now here, whatever I write up on the board, I want you to get in your notes. So you can have your notes out on your desk when you do your page 10. Today is your homework. How many steps is it going to take to solve this equation? 1, 2, 3, 4, 124, what? 1 step. I'm going to rewrite it over here. X squared equals 196. By line. Well, we have nothing to red rover. There's nothing like this. No plus 47 to move over. We have just an assumed 1 with the x, which we want, because we've got to get just the variable 1, or just x by itself. However, we have, this is a squared. X squared. We still have to get x by itself. Is x squared a perfect square? Yes. Because what is x times x? Because that's x to the first, x to the first. What does that equal if you multiply it? You get x to the second power. So x squared is a perfect square. What we need to do then, since we have it all the way down now, to just 1x squared, we need to find the square root of both sides. So we find the square root of x squared. That will equal, because that equation, what you do to one side, you do to the other. So then we find the square root of 196. Now I can simplify. What is the square root of x squared? X equals, because this is x times x. What does x equal? This is one that you have to memorize. What is the square root? 14. And technically, if they asked for the square roots, what would my answer be? It would be a positive negative 14 if they asked for the square roots. Either one of them will work up here. Then you check it. If I use the positive, is 14 times 14, 196?
Yeah.
Yes. Is a negative 14 times a negative 14 a positive 196?
Yes.
Yes. You know both of them are correct. Everybody have this in their notes?
Yes.
All right, next one. Four x squared equals 324. How many steps to solve this one? 2. Now what does this mean, 4x squared? Does this mean I have to subtract 4 to both sides?
No.
Say no.
No.
No. What do I need to do? This means 4 what, x squared?
4 times.
4 times. What's the inverse, the opposite of times?
5.
So I have to divide both sides by
4.
positive 4. Now what is a positive 4 divided by a positive 4? I get 1, right? So now I'm back to my what I want it to be, my 1 with my x squared equals 324 divided by 4 on this side is what? 8 what? 4 goes into 32. 8 times. 4 goes into 4. So what is 324 divided by 4?
81.
81. Am I done?
No.
No. What do I need to do? I need what?
Find the square root of 81.
And I need to find the square root of each of these. So the square root of x squared is x equals, what's the square root of 81? 9. And if they ask for square roots, we have a positive negative 9. And that would work up here. 4 times 9 times 9 is 81. 4 times 81 is 324. It works. So does a negative 9. All right. Letter C. X squared plus 47 equals 22. Two-step equation. Am I going to multiply or divide again on this one? No. What am I going to do? Red rover, send over. Send over the what? I need to get this by itself. So send over the,
47.
right, the 47. What's the inverse of a plus 47? I need to minus 47 to both sides. What you do to one side, you do to the other. Plus 47 and a minus 47 gives me what? 0. They cancel each other out. Good. And then that leaves me with my x squared on this side equals, now battle of the integers, positive 22, negative 47. Which one wins? Positive or negative?
Negative.
A negative wins by what? What's 47 minus 22? Wins by 25. Now I need to find the square roots of these. The square root of x squared and the square root of the negative 25. What's the square root of x squared? X equals, what's the square root of a negative 25? Yes, make me so happy. All right, not possible. Can't do that because of that negative. So we could try all we wanted and we'll never ever get an answer that would work in that equation. That one is not possible. All right, one left. And then you're on your own for page 10. X squared minus 52 equals 117. Work it out in your notes. Raise your hand when you get the answer. So if you wanted to watch what you're missing on this one, this is a plus 52 to both sides. Cancels out, gives you 0. And x squared equals, you added these and you get 169. Therefore you need the square root of each one of these. Square root of this is x. And this is a perfect square, that's 13 times 13. So x equals 13, positive, negative, if they want the square roots. Page 10 in your packet.